Now, let's look at an example of a good debt and a bad debt again. Let's say you identify a piece of land, and in this piece of land, you know that it's an outskirt of town, it's a developing area, it's a place that you think has the potential to gain value in the next couple of years, let's say 1 or 2 years. And so you take a loan and you go and buy a plot of land there, let's say at 15,000. In a year time, that same plot of land goes to 20,000 or 25,000. Clearly, you don't have the appreciation in your pocket, but you know that anytime you want to dispose of that asset, which is the land, you have an appreciation of money. And so you can say that, okay, it costs you 2,000 to get the loan. You are earning 10,000 as a result of selling the land. This is a clear case of a good arbitrage that comes to you. Let's say you buy that same land, not in a place that is sprouting, but let's say in an already developed area, in a marshy area. And the loan that you take to buy that land, you also need other money to be able to reconstruct and get a place in good shape before you can even develop it or even get it out. And so clearly you can see that the land is the same land that you are buying with a loan, but where you bought it in a place that is unprepared, that you need extra money to be able to get it going, you would see that it would be a bad debt to you, because it's a lot more, you need a lot more resources to be able to get it done. And it's even possible that if you want to sell it at that same rate, you may not get the market value or the value that you bought with, which means that with your interest and principal, you could be losing on that. And so, as I said, the same thing that you're using the money for can turn to be good or bad depending on the circumstances that is surrounding it. So you know your circumstance, you know what's going on in your life, you know the opportunities that arise, that have arisen in your life that you think if you need money to do, if you have your own money, you could do. If you don't have money and you have the opportunity to borrow, will you borrow or you will not? As I said, assess your situation and know whether it will put money in your pocket or take money away from you. Now, some common pitfalls we need to avoid when we are borrowing. The first one, obviously, is to avoid living beyond our means. So, if you are buying things that are not things that can add value to you, you are buying non-essential things. These are things that are wants. They are not needs. They are not things that would improve and help the quality of your life, but they are things that are extras. You don't need to borrow to get the extras of your life. No, you need to avoid that pitfall, because you get that extra bag that you don't need. You get that extra thing that you don't need. That you already have a TV, but you want a bigger one. If you have money and you are buying it, that's okay, but you are borrowing to buy it. You don't need it. It's something that you need to look out for and avoid. All the extras that are non-essentials that you don't need, especially if they're not putting money in your pocket, you have to try and avoid that. The other thing is also affordability issues. Somebody will say that, oh, Charlie, this loan that I'm taking, I know it will bring me a lot of money, and so use all of my income to deduct. No, that's a very unwise way of going to acquire a loan. You do not have to use every affordability of yours to get a loan. And what is affordability? Is how much you can afford in terms of repayments per period. So if it's a month, then the amount of money that is disposable, that is available to you to pay your loan, is your affordability. Do not use all your disposable income as affordability. And that's why it's very instructive that even if you go to a financial institution, they will not do even more than 50% of your disposable income. And so if it's not a financial institution that you're going to, but is a personal one that would not necessarily go through all these checklists, ensure that you don't use more than 50% of your disposable income to pay your loan. It doesn't matter what you're using it for. If it does not go according to plan, then it means that you find yourself wanting, the quality of your life will decrease and it will affect you and your loved ones. So it's something that you also need to take note of. The other thing is also the rates that you pay on loans. And so ensure that you understand the interest rate that you are going for. Have they quoted it to you in months or in years? And how does that translate to in terms of real amounts of repayment? Rate is fine, but you always need to understand what the amount is. What is the amount of interest that I'm paying? And if you put it together for the tenor of the loan that I'm paying, how is it going to be like? And so if it's something that you can manage, that's fine. But get to understand it, get to know what it is in terms of the rates, and also in terms of how that translates into monthly monthly repayment in terms of the interest component for your pockets. Get to understand the terms, the interest rates that you are paying. One of the pitfalls that you also need to avoid is high interest rates. Now, there are some shallows who will give you loans and demand 50%, 100% per month. Sometimes you're in a fix, you are really hard up, and so you go in for such loans. You know that you're thinking that, okay, in a month I can quickly get this money to pay. You don't get the money to pay, and it continues to build up. It builds up such that the interest component in a very short time grows even to outweigh the principal component. And so be very careful of high interest rates loans, especially the ones that are over 50, 60, 70, 80, 100% per month. These are loans that you need to avoid at all costs. It doesn't matter what's happening to you. Avoid them at all costs. Another thing, pitfall you also need to avoid is the terms of the loans. Understand what the loan that you're taking, even if it's from a friend that you're going to be paying back, understand how the payment is going to be. Is he expecting you to pay everything outright, or you can pay in bits? Just try to understand it so that it helps you. Sometimes you're in the process, you are paying the loan, and something comes up, and he says that, okay, I had already told you about this, but because you didn't understand and you wanted the money urgently as possible, you took it without understanding how the repayment of the loan is going to be like. And so if it's a financial institution, also understand the terms that are on the loan. Is it, if you're able to pay early, would there be any penalty? Can you pay earlier than has been agreed, and all of that? Understand the terms that you're going into, and if you are not comfortable with any of them, discuss it. Perhaps it can be worked on before you finally put pen to paper. Don't say because I need it and it's urgent, whatever terms they give me, I will abide by it. No. After you've collected it and you've started paying, you realize that some of the terms may be very dangerous to you, but you would have already signed on, and so it'll be very difficult for you to get yourself out of it. And so as we bring this discussion to a close, we want you to understand that debt can be good master or a bad servant. It all depends on you. Two people can take the same loan to do the same thing. It can help one person accelerate their wealth, and it can also plunge one into decline and poverty. It all depends on what they use the money for, how they use the money for, how that money which is being used generate returns, what is even done with the returns that come, and whether you even get the opportunity to pay the money back on time or not. All of that are important. And so use debt to accelerate your wealth and not to get you down into poverty. Let the debt that you take be invested in things, put them in things that bring money to you, that puts money in your pocket. Don't put loans into things that take money out of your pocket. Always use this thumb rule. If you had the money to do it yourself, would you use your money to do it? If you use your money to do it and you think that it is good, that can bring a lot of progress to you, a lot of development to you, a lot of growth to you, and substituting it with a loan can also give you that same advantage, then you can go ahead and do it. At all times, if you can avoid it, avoid it. But if you need to use loan, ensure that it is putting money in your pocket. It is helping you build assets that will grow. So check in your life today. Do you have bad debt or good debt? If you have bad debt, stop accumulating bad debt and look for ways that you can increase your wealth through good debt. Thank you.